Can you hear me?
I can.
Oh, perfect. Yay.
I take it you can hear me then?
Yes, I can.
Great.
I used to have that sweater.
Nice long tunic.
Yes.
I love it.
I like your
Well, I know
earrings.
maybe it came from you somehow, passed down. I think it was an I stole it from my sister thing from Carolyn. Maybe she
There you go.
got it from you. I don't know.
Who knows? Who knows?
Well, I'm having beef bone broth from Lono Life.
From what?
Lono Life brand.
Okay.
They're, I guess, only through Kroger or Amazon or their website.
Really?
Yeah, I once it had been at Costco, and that's how I got introduced to it. When I was working at the chiropractic office, he picked up a pack of like these little individual serving size. It's like a powder.
Yeah.
And brought it into the office, and I was like, this is really good, and it seemed like it's good quality from what I could learn. And
Lono broth?
Lono Life, yes. And then I couldn't find it anywhere because I kept checking like Fresh Time, Whole Foods,
Right.
But then I was asked to do a talk, like a little mini snippet, like a little 3-minute thing on this news channel in Cincinnati, and they wanted me to promote
nice.
Life. And I was like, I love Lono Life. I'm happy to do that. I already like that brand. But where do I get it? They're like, oh, it's at Kroger. Oh, I haven't.
Nice.
That could be why. So, yes.
So I wanted to ask, where can I get chocolate flavored collagen powder?
I can send you a link because I think that's how Rachel does it. Because she said she used to get it from like Fresh Time, but when I was sending her link, she goes, "Oh, it's actually cheaper through you with the discount." So yeah.
Oh, cool.
I will link you to that. And for anyone listening, if you would like some supplements.
Yay. Yes, please. My bone broth is currently boiling on the stove from my entire turkey carcass, which I'm going to give to you because I can't have turkey.
Oh, well, yay and boo for that.
Yay and boo, yeah. I was like, I can't not make broth out of this and give it to someone. So congratulations, you're going to get some bone broth.
I love that. I'm also really excited because I got a free test from Leap, the MRT test I do. They gave me a free test for myself to use.
Nice.
And I was curious because I haven't done that test in about 2 years.
Like 2 years.
Yeah, because I did it once, did it a year later, and that was 2 years ago. And the first two were very similar, which actually surprised me because I went through a massively stressful year that year. It was a horrendously stressful year. Not that the last two haven't had their own stresses, but that will always be in my mind as one of the worst years of my life. So I was very surprised to see that the results are actually very similar. I mean, of course, a little bit of wiggle, and things actually got better. Like my one red became a yellow, and a couple of my yellows turned green. But there was a lot of the similarity. I was like, that. They said it was, accurate and precise and all of this, but it was good to me to see that. So I'm excited to see how it'll look again.
Yeah.
Here,
for sure.
2 years after. And then I got contacted by another company like Bitech, I think they were. And they're like, we do food sensitivity tests. It's IgG, IgA, IgG4 antibodies.
Really?
And in my head, I'm like, well, that's not as many as Leap, but that's still okay.
That's still a bunch,
and we would love to introduce it by giving it to you for 50% off. And I wrote back, how about free? And they're like, we'll give you a free one. I'm like, yes. So I'm going to actually get to like side-by-side compare these in a bit. So turkey used to be a very, very safe food for me. So I hope it still is. It's one of my least reactive.
Oh, so. I would hope so. Turkey was one of my most reactive. It was not one of my reds, but it was one of my highest yellows, and like I think numerically it was 1 point scored under a red. But every year, Christmas and Thanksgiving, I would get sick oh my God.
I used to get sick, but it was every every break, like that used to kind of be the joke with my family.
That was my husband.
If it was spring break, I'd get sick. If it was Christmas break, I got sick. And I think later we probably could tag it up to, it was like my stress level. I was high, and I got to relax and I get sick. High, relax and get sick.
Yeah, that was Andrew all through school. Yeah, no, this for me, like sick, I mean like total GI shutdown, complete GI shutdown, which you figure, I mean, I'm non-celiac, gluten intolerant, I'm this, I'm that, I'm all these other things. So between the turkey, the stuffing, and then the fact that what do you eat for the next 3 days?
Turkey and stuffing leftovers.
And gravy on everything, which is like, and then all of the dairy that's in, the mashed potatoes and the dessert. It was like, oh yeah, no, this explains why.
This makes sense.
Yeah, like
I know.
Every year, Christmas and Thanksgiving, I would have like complete GI stasis and shutdown, and it would just be horrible. So the more you know.
Knowing's half the battle. G.I. Joe. Da-na-na. Yeah. And I've had people say that they're like, if nothing else, it is. I mean, usually people get a lot out of the program I run, but they're always like, at the very least, like, if not, like, I have now learned what foods are so problematic that, you can't, it's so hard to do with a journal.
It's so hard to do. Well, and especially considering that you don't like write down, I had, cayenne aioli with my chicken and avocado bunless sandwich, and then realized that it was like the cayenne, all 1/8 of a teaspoon. That was probably, I mean, I did it the other week. I had something that, like, the second ingredient from the end was cayenne pepper. I'm like, oh, this will be fine. The more you know.
The more you know, yes. But so yes, for today, I'm excited. Episode 4. Welcome, episode 4, Gutsy Gals. We're getting a Facebook page made.
I was going to say,
do you want to talk about that? Andee has made. Yeah,
I was going to say, I think we should start with the announcement that we're going to have a Gutsy Gals Facebook page, and we're going to post all of these videos there. And we're going to share the crap out of it. And we would like all of you who watch it, if you find it useful, to share the crap out of it and tell people about it as well. So yeah, stay tuned for that. We'll let you know when it comes, and we'll have links for it, but we're in the building phase.
Yes, I know I've already had good feedback from people who've been watching, like that it's really helpful, that they had questions. So actually today's topic came not specifically someone requesting it, but it came up in a conversation with someone I had about, she's talking about her struggles with weight and inflammation. And she kind of made this side note about how she's got stress, depression, issues going on. I'm like, these are actually all tied together. I can't read it.
My GeneSight report.
Oh.
The depression meds testing.
Oh, yes.
Which just happens to be right next to me just because it happens to be one of the folders I need to put away.
But to me, it was not only because it came up, and so it made me kind of like, hey, that's a good thing to talk about, but it's the holiday season. It's 2020, so these things bring their own stresses and depression. It's winter, so for those of us here in Ohio,
well, affective. Let's talk about the fact that Ohio is more gray than Seattle.
And I'm feeling it, like today actually.
Oh my gosh, tell me about it.
Oh, well, little known secret for you, member of the 8-week holiday challenge. Tyler and I went and did that exercise thing, and then we're like, all right, here we go. We started our warm up, and I sat down after like one round. I said, it's not in me today. I can't do this. I am choosing to make today a non-workout day. I have a cat eating leaves off my table. Hang on.
Oh, the joys of cats. Yes. I'm not familiar with this at all.
Yeah, I mean, it's been kind of a struggle bus for me to begin with, and I knew winter would be, and that's
Yep.
So we did certain things to prep for it. Like last winter I bought a snowboard, and this year I bought my own season pass because I'm like, I have to. I am a work from home person. I
Yep.
love my home.
Yeah.
It is
Yep.
cozy and it is nice, but
Yep.
so having
Yep.
a plan, knowing that it was coming, we're double checking our vitamin D here. So I wanted to talk
Yep.
about all these things because I think they're relevant, and
Absolutely.
because I don't want other people to have to go into it with, well, that's just how this is. I just hunker down and deal with it because
Nope.
it sucks. I'm grateful to know it will pass. I'm grateful
Yes.
to know when I had long bouts of like massive depression when I was younger and that it ended. And
Yep.
I've come through a lot. But it's kind of like any health issue, like just saying, well, I'll tough it out. You know, people are like, well, it sucks that I have IBS, but well, it sucks that I have migraines, but I'm getting used to it. It sucks that I'm tired all the time, but c'est la vie. Like,
Yeah.
no, you know, we don't want to be depressed. There are things we can look at.
Exactly. There are things that we can do to talk about and proactively manage some of these issues, which is hugely, hugely important.
Yes, and it, like everything, it's a web, and I don't think I've shared on here, but maybe I'll put it at the end of this, or we'll pause here and clip the little wheel of health that I take my clients through, where we talk about mindset is at the core of it. And I know, you and I brushed on that before. Yes. So mindset's at the core of it. And then it's got nutrition, because yes, I'm a dietitian. Yes, I believe nutrition and nutrition actual ability to utilize. Counts. Yes, what you put in counts, how your body metabolizes counts, but then also physicality. And to me, that's not just exercise, but intentional movement, your posture, just, yes, all of that. And then stress and sleep.
Oh, yeah.
Like, all of that plays into it. And then let's be realistic, situational things do affect it as well. But what we cannot control on these external stressors.
Yeah, but what can we control?
We can do our best.
Let's look at that wheel, and what can we control within the wheel that is not related to 2020 or a presidential transition or a
pandemic or fights. I mean, there are families who are having more fights now than before because of COVID and quarantines and rules and restrictions and what's safe, what's not, all of that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Oh yeah. It's a
doozy of a year.
And I could attest to a little bit of that as well. I mean, I had to.
I'm cold. I am like loving this right now. It feels so comforting.
Ginger honey warmth. So we're there. It's real. I mean, I had to I had to stop speaking with my brother yesterday when he called to like wish me a happy Thanksgiving, because I was like, dude, I can't have this conversation with you now. I can't have this conversation with you right now. I can't have this conversation with you right now. And after like the third time of me saying that in like probably 10 minutes, my husband came over and was like, dude, she can't have this conversation right now. Goodbye. And he hung up the phone. Aww. And yeah, I was able to call him back later and we had like a normal discussion and whatever. But like, yeah, there's a lot. I mean, yeah, lots of internal family conflicts, lots of, like friends are winding up on different sides of divides that you didn't expect. So yeah, let's talk about what we can do to help manage seasonal affective disorder and depression. Because there's so much, Kate. There's so much.
Yes, I know. So maybe let's see. I'm not going to set like an official timer, but let's see. So to me, we can put stress and sleep together. That's kind of hormonal lifestyle is what I put that together. So if we hit mindset, nutrition, and kind of the gut brain connection, physical movement, hormones, and accountability. So 5 topics.
I like those.
Accountability and support group, I guess, is kind of how I think of that. So I'm going to set like an unofficial timer here. But maybe if we just hit 6 to 7 minutes on each.
I was gonna say 5 to 7 on each would probably be good if we aim.
Like, because I know us, we could probably talk an entire hour.
I was gonna say we could probably make each one of those a podcast. But like, so if at the end of this there is any topic of those 5 that you want us to dive into further, please let us know. We can do a deeper dive on one of those.
Okay, so stopwatch up.
Stopwatch up.
We'll do 5 minutes, and then we can start to wind up that topic. So which topic would you like to start on?
Dealer's choice.
Well, I always have my people start with mindset because I believe that is at the hub of it all.
That's where I would have suggested as well.
So let me hit start. Yes, because to me, the mindset, it doesn't matter what you know. It doesn't matter what plans you have in place. If your mind goes, I don't wanna, and I'm not gonna, it's not gonna happen. This won't work. It won't happen.
Yep.
So to me, that mindset is huge. And I tell them, like, we're not just focusing on what you want, like weight wise or health wise, but who do you want to be?
Who do you want to be?
Yes. So coming up to that. So
what would this change for you in your life if you could X?
Yes.
What would it mean if and why?
Yes. So, and when it comes to depression, again, first of all, maybe there are things you can do. You don't just have to suffer through winter and this season.
You can do. Oh my God.
Things you can do.
God. There's so much you can do. Oh my God. There's so much you can do.
And that's what we're going to get to. So, yes,
and that's what we're going to get into. So first of all, if your mindset is, I can't do anything about this, we're here to blow that out of the water.
Yes.
Like, it sucks and you're cranky and you don't wanna, but guess what? It doesn't have to be this way. So that's the nugget. It doesn't have to be this way. It doesn't have to be this way. I can change this. I have the power. I have the ability to change things. And what things do I want and need to change? And what will that mean for me?
Yes. So one of the things I wanted to talk about first, because I thought was important as I went through a massive depression and I was on pills and had suicidal tendencies and things, you know, that was part of my life for a while and through college.
Been there, done that, bought the t-shirt.
Yeah. And there were all these things that said, well, do gratitude lists. And that drove me further down.
Yes. I agree.
So that was something because in my life, I sat there and I would be like, well, you know, my parents are good to me. They love me. I have a home, you know, I was in college, but you know, I had roof over my head. I had my own apartment I was renting. I had decent roommates. I had my health, like all these things. And so what that did to me is it drove me lower going, why am I so
depressed?
What is wrong with me? I am a selfish, ungrateful bitch. If I have all this good stuff in my life and I can't feel happy. And so I learned later that's called cognitive dissonance.
Correct.
When you are feeling here and you are trying to emotionally move yourself here, and there's this huge gap, it just drives you further down.
Yep.
So what was your experience with that? And how did you work on that?
Yeah. So the biggest thing for me with cognitive dissonance was acknowledging the fact that, like when similar experience, you know, like going through all of the years of trying to self-treat and then formal therapy and whatever, but the gratitude lists of like, oh, we'll be grateful. When you look at your life objectively and you're like, really? I mean, I'm like at a 7 or an 8 out of a 10. Like if I had my dream job, if I was making bank, if I, you know, you could add all of the little things that you could get from like a 7 to a 10. But when your life is really a 7 or an 8 and you feel like it's a 3, it's hard to get over that. And one of the things that I like, and this is a Brene Brown thing. I love Brene Brown, is finding the little sparkling moments of joy to be grateful for that aren't those big things.
Yes.
that aren't those big. So I am grateful that like this morning I didn't have to like dig for clean underwear. You know,
Yes.
like I like those moments where like your cat comes up and wants to snuggle you. That like joy is not the sun. Joy is not like a constant beaming ray of happiness. Gratitude is not it comes in twinkle lights.
Let's see if I can find this picture. Yes, it's little things and
grasping onto those twinkle lights, and this here again, it's a Brene Brown analogy, but appreciating those little moments of gratitude, and instead of being like, I am grateful for, and here's your list, feeling it.
Yes. Oh.
It's not a here thing. It's a here thing.
I remember one Thanksgiving, this was a while ago, and that dawned on me. I was finally able to get to that point of feeling gratitude. And I posted my Thanksgiving post that year on Facebook was, I am so grateful that for the first time I can genuinely feel grateful.
Yes.
Yes. And it did. It started with, I don't think we can see that real well. And I'll post this again. I'll kind of do a little table card here. But there's something that I learned about called the emotional guidance scale. And it like starts you down when you're feeling stuck down in like grief and depression and powerlessness, unworthy, insecurity, jealousy, and all this, to try to jump all the way from this is like level 22 to level 1, joy is too big. So they're like, just bring it up a little bit. Can you get from hatred to maybe just anger?
Right, exactly.
A little bit of pessimism. And so it's like this little digs up.
Yeah, exactly. It's like a half a step at a time.
And it might take like a week just to get up that little step. So I'll show the ladder. I'll post that in here.
But that
huge. Was critical for me. And so it was like just waking up in the morning, sometimes going, just like taking a minute in bed, because initially the initial mindset was, oh God, I got to get up again, like, and face the world, and I have to talk, and I'm depressed, and I don't have energy, and I don't
scarcity
exactly.
Like
I'm grateful. These sheets feel so nice.
Yep. I'm grateful. I'm warm. I'm cozy. I got a good night's sleep, or I got some sleep. But you're right. It's
how do you want to wrap that up at 7 minutes here?
Oh, how do we wrap it up at 7 minutes?
So fast for us.
Joy comes in twinkle light moments. So capture the small moments to be grateful for. Be grateful for the moment that you can turn on the heat in your car and it's heat instead of cold, in the morning, or find those small twinkle lights of joy, because twinkle lights eventually can illuminate a whole room like a Christmas tree fan. But it's finding the twinkle lights.
And I would say on my end, when it comes to the self-talk, you may not be able to self-talk, I'm awesome, I'm amazing, I'm kick-ass. You might not be there, but at least try to stop the I'm a failure and come up a level. I'm trying.
Yep.
I'm doing my best. I got up today. So that self-talk, I do think, is absolutely critical, but we might not be able to be at that point of, I'm amazing, I'm confident, I've got this. If it's just this, I'm facing my fears, I'm facing the day, I'm a little something.
I got into the shower. Really, when you're in that struggle bus, celebrate those small wins. Like, oh, I'm so grateful for this.
That was today. I was like, I got a hot shower in. Like, I got up, I got a hot shower, I had a healthy breakfast.
Yeah, and you know what? And you were able to recognize that you didn't have it in you for a workout this morning. And you know what? And you gave yourself permission to rest.
I did.
Also hugely important.
He is going to be. So we're moving into topic 2.
Topic 2.
Right into that circle, nutrition. Do you mind talking to an empty screen for a minute while I go move my cat in the plant?
All right. I will do
some
that.
Nutrition. All right, go for it.
Nutrition, gosh, nutrition is so critical because not only do you need to fuel your body, but you need to fuel your body with things that are going to help with your depression and not add to your depression. And that really becomes kind of entangled, right? Because when we're feeling crappy, what do we want? We want junk food, we want carbs, we want, so how do we, yeah, exactly. So how do we take those? I mean, sometimes you still want your salt craving. How do you get it that it's not potato chips and some other junk? So what you're putting into your body gets into your guts, which has to deal with hormone balance, which we're not there yet. But nutrition plays in a really big component in depression, because if you're not feeding your body with the appropriate nutrients, if you're not feeding your body with the appropriate macro mix, if you're not getting your good healthy fats, if you're not getting good protein, hydration is huge. If you're not getting those components, you're gonna be more in that swirl of, I want more junk food, I want more of this, and guess what? That adds to more inflammation, and that adds to more depression, and that makes it harder to get out of it. So yeah, as much as it sucks, like figure out a way to like shift to some of those healthier choices. So like, you don't want Velveeta mac and cheese, maybe you make a quinoa based pasta or a mung bean based pasta with a Daya vegan cheese and oat milk and fake butter. But I gotta tell you, God damn, it hits that mac and cheese spot really well.
Good. Yeah. Making sure to be mindful that bad food does affect moods. And not just because of kind of they trigger cravings and all of that, like a sugar craving creates sugar cravings and a carb craving creates carb and salt, but also that those are usually nutrient empty foods, nutrient deplete. And there are so many vitamins and minerals that are important for your whole body systems. Like vitamin B2 is a cofactor for serotonin and dopamine production. So if you're not getting your good B vitamins, same way, folate is also important for serotonin, dopamine, norepinephrine.
C677 homozygous mutation. Yeah, I mean,
and in that vein, like low folate actually causes a poor response to antidepressant medicines. So the lower their folate, the more severe the depression tends to be.
Correct. And if you have a genetic mutation, which means you can't get there, guess what? You need to find that out, because they will throw all the antidepressants at you in the world, and they're not going to be effective if you can't have the B vitamins that are needed.
Cats help.
Cats help.
And then kind of, again, with all those junk foods, they tend to create a lot of oxidation in the body, like stress does. And so I think of oxidation as kind of like rust in the body. Kind of like grinds down the body.
Pro-inflammatory, yes.
Yeah. So antioxidants are really important because, again, they help with the brain neurotransmitters. They protect the brain. So, making sure you're getting vitamins A, C, E, CoQ10, glutathione, all this stuff, they play this role in the prevention and treatment of depression. So it is important to kind of double down on your nutrition, both to help break those cravings as well as to provide the nutrients you need.
Yes. And the nutrients are so huge.
Yes. So again, if you want to supplement a nice high quality multivitamin, I was actually just noting today, again, like kind of that lack of mood, and Tyler mentioned, he's like, we actually kind of got away from our multivitamin. How much vitamin D is in those? And I was like, quite a bit, actually, like a good dose. So it's like vitamin D is kind of the one most people are familiar with for depression and seasonal mood disorder. Cat on my lap again. I love it.
But
another antidepressant, a cat.
another antidepressant. Cats, plants, dogs. I mean, there's many of them. Children, sometimes.
I don't have them, and I'm okay with that.
Sometimes they can be an antidepressant.
They can. I love being an aunt.
Yes, I was
I'm
gonna.
okay not
I
being
was.
a mom.
I was thinking like my toddler. Sometimes she's a wonderful antidepressant. Other times, dear God, hugs. Hugs are, you know, if you have the ability to hug someone, there have been many studies on the power of just like a 10-second hug and what it can do to relax someone and reduce their cortisol levels and whatnot, because we give people quick hugs, but those prolonged hugs are the ones that actually
Release the hormones.
Release the hormones. And on that vein, since you're doing that, well, smiling is definitely a good one, but monkey taps.
This I'm not familiar with. I just
So
went
this
here because
is
it's e-hug.
yeah.
E-hug to all our viewers who need a hug. We love you.
Yes. But the monkey taps are another way that you can just slow tapping on your chest while you're can help. If you do it this way, it feels more like a hug. That's why. But and you just slowly. There's a whole book. It's based on EMDR, which is a whole other thing. But monkey taps, if you're feeling like you need a hug and you can't find somebody to give you a hug, lean back in a chair and give yourself some monkey taps.
Weighted blankets.
Yeah, weighted blankets are good, but monkey taps are a nice self-hug.
Which is kind of a nice segue as we're 6 minutes and 30 seconds into that physicality, all kind of the touch, the movement, the posture, alignment. Because touch is huge. When researching about people reversing MS with Dr. Walls, she made sure to include, there's a whole section of research that includes physical touch, like whether that's massage or if that's too much, like having someone pet you, having like someone pet your hair. And like, to me, that is unbelievably soothing.
Oh God, yeah. I'm a human cat. I'm a human cat. Pet me, rub me, like scratch me hard. I'm like, oh.
Yes. But even if you can't, again, even if there's no one there, doing that yourself, like it is, they even say that with like body language checks, you can see when people start to get uncomfortable, they start to touch themselves more. They start to, mess with their hair more, and they start to, kind of touch more. And it's a subconscious desire for comfort and peace and calming down. So you can do that to yourself. Or you can get like those dry skin brushes. People like those because it's soothing without being your own tactile touch. The weighted blankets. So
there's all sorts of like little stimming kind of things that you can do. I've got having at one point been a massage therapist and having been in
You've done like everything.
I also taught massage therapy at one point.
I feel like I had a lot between all the different like dietetic things plus yoga and personal training, but man, you
we don't even need to get into that. But like even getting like a roller for yourself, a lot of the they've got like roller ball, it almost looks like a rolling pin, but it's got like a knobby little ball in the middle.
Those use them on like the legs and things.
Or something even just with wheels, can, just something to give yourself that tactile stimulation. If you don't like, because for me, my own hands on my own skin, it's okay. But like to have something that is that different feeling, whether it's a dry brush or a massage therapy toy, can really be beneficial as well.
And I do like a heating pad, and I'll do massage balls and things like that. And that's so that's good. And then of course the actual act of exercise and its boost of epinephrine and happy hormones.
Exercise is huge. Important. But even if you can't exercise, movement in and of itself is important.
And just one of the things I know I need to work on, because I normally enjoy my morning workouts. But for me, again, kind of that work from home, being in the home all day, beyond that is I used to go out in the afternoon for like a jog when it was warmer out. And due to the colder weather, and I've got get breathing issues with it, and it kind of hurts. And
yeah,
even if it's not super cold, I'll get the coughing going on.
Dry in the coffee. Yeah.
Yeah. So it makes it less pleasant for me. So while it's like, yes, it's a stress relief, it's also kind of this irritation. So I've just started trying to do more walking where it doesn't create so much of the breathing. But just, yeah, getting up and moving. And I'll sometimes set an alarm for like, work for 45 minutes, then get up and stretch for 5, or, work for 2 hours and then do something else. But because this is such a, if we get into the power posture, I believe, the open it up, they teach that, I guess you can't really see me here, but that confidence stand.
Oh yes, Superman pose.
Superman pose, like arms open, vulnerable spots all open, actually changing things.
Yes, so they've done studies where if you stand in Superman pose, so like I'm gonna do it.
Here we go, Andy. Oh, stick that chest
just here. I know, right?
We're getting a shot of your boobs right now.
but like really, like shoulders back, hands on your hips, head up. That really like
legs wide, like take up space. Confidently
take up space. Yes, they have actually determined that when people do that for 2 to 3 minutes before something, I mean, they did a study with surgeons. Their confidence levels were higher. They performed better. They've done that type of research with all sorts of other people. Test scores are higher. Public speaking,
business meetings,
all of that. So you know what? Like there were days when I was like horribly depressed that I would literally just like stand in Superman pose in the shower and just be like, okay. And just let the water hit me and breathe into that Superman pose. You feel better when you get out. I mean, it really does help build that confidence. It helps build that booster. So posture.
Yeah. And if you think about a lot of people, and I guess I pay more attention to women in this, just in kind of observation, but it could be anybody. But like we do this again, even if it's not intentional, when we're in our chairs and we're working from home, it's like the shoulders come down, the head just hurts. So we are closing all of that. And not only is that horrible just in general for alignment, muscles, nerves,
but energetically.
Chemical. Yeah. For that chemical response.
The vagus nerve.
Want to talk about the vagus? Well, let's get to that in a second. But
we'll get there.
But yeah, so I would just encourage people, like with that posture, it makes a difference. Not only for the chemicals and that confidence, but because what I notice is like women a lot when we talk, like I'll watch speakers and interviews, and men, like their hands are straight, their arms are out, you can see these confident body language, and it's not all men, but unfortunately it is sort of a stereotype that I do see is men are doing this, and this portrays this wonderful confidence, and women, we lock our elbows in, we go into the T-Rex, and we kind of talk like this in our little space, and we cross our legs and our ankles.
It's a cultural thing. We as women have been very much socialized that's like you said, like, hey Andy, boob shot, but like that
hey, it made me laugh, so there we go.
It's true, but like that's part of it. We like, not only do we have gravitationally that, but there's an episode in this season of The Crown where Diana is practicing a speech, and they tie her hands to her waist so that she learns how to talk more like this, and she learns how to speak in a more demure fashion with, less grandiosity and whatever. Whereas like you said, when we see
confident presenters
and like, I am owning this room, I am owning what I am doing, you see this much more open, confident posture, and really opening this up, lifting the chin, opening the shoulders, getting the rib cage over the hips, getting the ears over the shoulders over the rib cage. This postural alignment is so important.
Like, it sounds silly, like I'm stuck at home and I'm depressed and you want me to sit up straight. Yes, we do.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, literally, that's sit up straight.
Yeah.
And
then
I
would
practice sitting up straight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh gosh. Like when I would start meditating after so long, if I didn't have like a wall or chair, just within like 3 minutes, I'd be like, oh my God, my back muscles are burning. Like I consider myself a fairly healthy, fit person. And I'm like, I'm not used to that. And I've always struggled with posture. I shot up to the 95th percentile, like in first or second grade. And
yeah. And then, yep. Mm-hmm.
Don't look at me. I want to be short like everybody else. And it was awful.
Yeah.
But then one of the other things, and we'll kind of segue here into stress and breath with that, but with that open posture and with that deep breathing, one of the things I realized helped when I was stressed is I would sing. Because when people are stressed, we hold our breath, we breathe shallowly, we're in the chest. And it's not that I'm a good singer. Good God, no. I mean, I can sort of sometimes carry a tune, but it forced this opening and this breath and this expansion and pulling oxygen in.
Yes.
To help with that.
Yes. Yes. Singing is really good breath work because you cannot sing if you cannot breathe properly. And so I'm going to put on my band geek hat here, Kate.
Ooh.
Eyes up, chin lifted, chest forward, shoulders back, stomach in, knees together.
I had, yes, as the field commander, I had to shout that.
Eyes with pride, right? I was a field commander.
Yeah, what was it? Shoulder back, chin up, chest out, stomach in, feet together, eyes with pride.
With pride, eyes with pride.
Eyes with pride.
You know exactly what I was going for. I was just going to leave out the eyes with pride thing. But yeah.
It's important though.
It's pride, but that's important too, eyes with pride. But literally, like, that was our field commander thing. And like, when I have to check my posture, that's exactly what I run through in my head is like chest up, shoulders back, you know, stomach in, knees together, feet together, eyes with pride. Like, yeah. Chin up. And then our warm up before we would even play our instruments was belly breathing, and we all had to sing. All of us. We all had to sing as part of our band warm up for breath to be able to play our instruments.
Yeah.
After we did all of this postural exercise.
Yeah. And what this does is, first of all, yes, just pulling in oxygen. We need oxygen. It transports to our brain and carries everything. The blood helps move nutrients to our body. And as we discussed, there are a lot of nutrients involved in hormone production and mood elevation. But also, again, when we're stressed and we're tight here, we start, I don't know if you can see it real well, but we start breathing with these muscles. And this creates head tension and headaches and problems as this all tenses up 24/7. So it helps relax that, open up all these muscles, and then
opens up the diaphragm.
And the more we calm the breathing, it starts to steady that heart rate variable, which helps lower cortisol hormones, which helps with frontal lobe, which is part of your problem solving, impulse control, craving control, decision making, learning, memory, all of that.
Yeah. And then it takes also a lot of your processing and puts it not in your frontal lobe and puts a lot of the cognitive bullshit back in your subconscious, where your subconscious can work on it and let your frontal lobe do the processing of day-to-day life.
Yeah. You know, instead of living in this constant like micro fight or flight where we're, my mentor described it as being chased by a tiger in slow motion. That is how we live. Like, we're not running up a tree and done. It is like this constant, perpetual deadlines, responsibilities, priorities, current events, whatever it is. But it's just, we need to break that because that stress is so detrimental to our health.
Yes, absolutely.
And again, causes cravings, increases need for junk food, actually elevates blood sugar levels, which long term has all kinds of health problems with it. Even if it's not like diagnosis level high, as we talked with labs, it can still be functionally high and not optimal. It can still be elevated beyond what's good, and chronically that destroys your adrenal glands, and that can lead to blood sugar issues and brain issues and erectile dysfunction and all sorts of fun, nasty hormone shifts.
Yep, exactly. And that analogy of being constantly chased by the tiger in slow motion is exactly how most like endocrinologists even describe it, is just that we are in this constant state of stress because of all of these things. And because we have so many of our friends and family and folks sitting at home listening, take this time to do what you can to make your environment what you need and want it to be. If you have that flexibility, figure out where you can get, where you can close the door on the tiger. Like, how many tigers can you get rid of? Are there tigers that you can get rid of? And I think, you know, working from home in some cases that adds stress, but it also affords people the opportunity to do things like surround themselves with plants, or, you know, change if the room that you're sitting in is a color that you hate, paint the room, hang something pretty up, do something different. I mean, you know, we've all kind of been like, okay, well, it's going to end. It will eventually, but in the interim,
the best of it while we're getting there.
Yeah, and then in the best of it, like, while we're in this shit, let's let this shit become fertilizer.
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it. Let it, take root. We've knowing that we're going to be stuck at home more, and like we aren't doing a full day of Thanksgiving even with close family. Again, like I said, I got the snowboard and I got the season pass to help, but we also picked up a drum practice pad because I haven't played since college. And Carol and my sister bought me a ukulele when I moved back from Saipan, because of all the bucket list things. I got so many bucket list things checked off my list when I got to move there and live there. And that was like a thrive time for me. But I never learned the ukulele. That was one thing I had wanted to do because of the, island music and everything.
Right, yeah.
And so I moved back and she bought me this ukulele. So I've had it for like 3 years and I've dabbled. I will pick it up for like 2 or 3 days and put it aside. And then I pick it up and I drop. And I never remembered anything one time to the next. So I actually got a ukulele book for beginners. And so I'm actually just like 10 minutes a day.
Yeah.
But it's kind of a new little hobby and it adds something different. So, there's no more commute time. It used to be like a 30-minute commute. That's an extra hour I've gained each day. Now, again, I'm fortunate and, I'm in this situation where I don't have children, so I don't have to have that double duty. I feel bad for moms who are trying to like homeschool and work, and just God bless you. But yes, finding something to do. I've also gotten a hard copy book, like a fiction book. I have not sat down to read fiction in ages because I was always working so much and studying and furthering my career knowledge and busy with other things. And that's not that I was like a workaholic. I also did sports and athletics and different things, but I lost that priority of sitting down to read, and studies show 6 minutes of reading can reduce stress. As long as you're not reading current events,
Don't do that.
Don't do that. And we do need to put a filter on that input at times, I think. There are times where I'm like, I don't want to just be like an ostrich with my head in the sand and just ignore what's going on in life and the world around me. But at some point, sometimes I have to, for a little while. I have to have a media fast.
Absolutely. And I completely agree. Like I do the media fasting myself. Like, there are just times where it's like, nope, can't anymore. Just not gonna. The input that I get from the outside world will be the curated content that I want from, yoga and nutrition and gut health microbiome articles and, but really curating the content that I am getting exactly because of that reason, because you get to the point where you're like,
it starts to mess with your stress, which starts to mess with your body physiology, and that can mess with your sleep. Segue. And that as well, people, and that's one that that's another one that I hound people on. Like, we neglect sleep
Oh my
so
God.
badly, and self-care. And we tell people like, you're selfish if you do it, and no, like, prove you're a superwoman and exist on 4 hours of sleep.
Right.
But that matters. That matters so much.
Oh my God. Sleep is so important.
Like, and again, we've talked about that kind of being that white noise, and we tell people like, you have to sleep, but it helps with inflammation. It helps with your immune system. It helps with your body's natural recovery.
It helps with depression.
It helps with mood. Now, granted, when I was depressed, I was the one who slept too much.
Well, there's that too.
So there's that to be aware of. I guess I'm not going to say anything, because that's kind of was how I coped in a way. But still making sure that at night it was true, genuine, like
exactly,
that routine, that schedule.
Yes.
And then during the day, if I need a nap, take a nap. If the sleep was bad because I was stressed and I was anxious and the mind wouldn't let me sleep, then absolutely, it's no shame to take a nap.
Yeah, exactly.
But also being mindful of, is it a genuine need for sleep, or is it depression and maybe you need to get up and go for a walk?
Yeah, exactly. And that's definitely a
you've got to know for yourself. Yeah. You've got to learn your own body and how your body talks to you. Because that was, one of the people I've worked with, she said, she's worked from home now and it's hard for her, and she's kind of very, not completely isolated, but more than she would like to be and more than she's used to. And it is hard for her. And she said that was something she learned. Like, I have to get up and I have to go for a drive each morning somewhere, go to drive through to get coffee, just drive around the neighborhood, but I have to get up and I have to get out, and then I can get into my day. Yeah. And that's how she gets out of her head and out of her home, clears her mind, and then can focus. Yeah.
Yep. And that it building those types of habits and building that good sleep hygiene routine, both on the going to sleep end and then on the waking up and getting out end, especially in the context of depression, is so important. There's nothing, naps are great when you need them, but having that good core sleep and whatever your sleep needs are. I mean, my husband and I have very different sleep needs. He is he needs like 8 hours minimum, and otherwise he's gonna take a nap. That's just him. I, on the other hand, I'm like 6 to 8 pretty much on a natural basis, but as long as I go to sleep when I'm tired, I have a decent normal wind down routine.
Well, now I know we're working on you with that.
I'm working on it, but it's getting better. But I mean, I am very aware now that like 9-10 o'clock comes around, and if I'm doing something, we have a problem, because I'm going to wind up being up till 1 o'clock in the morning. Whereas if it's 9 or 10 and I stop and listen to my body and pick up my book, I'm going to be ready for bed in like 20 minutes to a half an hour. Yeah. So it's building those routines around what does going to bed look like. And like your other client said, what does getting up and getting out look like for you? Like, for me, if I wake up before the kid and the husband, I'm like all about like, let me answer 3 days worth of email. I'm cleaning the house. It's great. But like, that's what happens. I fall asleep at 9 or 10 o'clock and I wake up at 6 before everybody else, and I have that me time. And I have discovered, oh my God, that me time first thing in the morning is fantastic. But it's figuring out what that sleep routine needs to be.
Yeah. And I think part of that, I'll say like my morning routine and my day and how I structure, and I am going to make a post on that, because I think a day routine is very important, especially with work at home. But it starts the night before. Yes, it starts with closing down work, cleaning that out, having a good evening, and going to bed on time, and kind of like We talked about how the bad food becomes this vicious cycle. Bad food begets cravings for bad food, and bad mood makes bad food cravings, yada, yada, yada. Sleep can do the same in the sense when you're depressed, because at least this was my experience. When I was depressed, I didn't want to go to bed. Like I would just boob tube with, I was binging Breaking Bad at the time.
Yeah,
but I would just like stay up. I would fight sleep for whatever reason.
Sleep avoidance is actually part of depression.
Yeah, maybe just because I didn't want to like think about the next day. Like if I go to bed, it means I have to wake up and face another day. But whatever it was, but it was this, again, that kind of that perpetual cycle. I'm now going to bed poorly, like staring at blue light, which is bad, and screens, which is bad. Yep. Staying up late, and then still my alarm's still going off at like 4:30 in the morning for what I had to do in the morning.
Right.
And so now I'm getting like 4 to 6 hours of sleep, and in my head, like, well, other people do it and I'm not a mom, I'm just doing my life.
Fine, yeah.
I can deal with it. And then the depression, and then that next night it cycled it. So again, you've got to break that cycle, and where you can choose to break it, not everybody, but where most people hopefully in this case can choose to break it, is to set that night alarm and go to bed. Have a wind down routine that does not include staring at the computer or the TV or your phone, but read, take a hot bath, listen to music, meditate, something else.
Yep. Some other type of wind down activity. It's sort of funny what has forced some of my earlier nights of sleep has actually been our toddler's sleep like routine. We put up her little teepee, and she starts to have like wind down play, and we put on the Star Wars lullaby playlist on Alexa, and we turn pretty much most of the lights off in the house.
Did you say Star Wars lullaby playlist?
Yes. It's beautiful.
I'm gonna have to listen to this.
Anyway,
nice.
Nerd alert. But I have found out that like building some more routine for her to get her to bed earlier has then helped me have more routine in getting me to bed earlier. So, if you're in a family situation, what are those other what are the other factors that you need to think about? Like kids and screen time, and there's always going to be another load of laundry. There's always going to be one. Don't worry about that last load of laundry. It'll always be there. But, there's a lot of those other kinds of things that go into it as well. So think about the bigger picture of how does your routine personally fit in as well with your bigger life.
And then I meant to come back to this, but you'd mentioned the vagus nerve. Would you like to talk a little bit more about that?
Oh, the vagus nerve. The vagus nerve is my favorite nerve in the whole body.
Pray tell, Andee, why is that?
So the vagus nerve is the longest and largest nerve in your body. Aside from the sciatic nerve, which doesn't really count, it's one of your cranial nerves, and it comes out of your head. It controls part of your face. It goes into your neck. It goes into your diaphragm. It goes into your digestion, and it goes into your intestines, and it also comes all the way out deep in your pelvic floor. So your vagus nerve is this nerve that has so many different places that it can become pinched, pulled, aggravated, yanked on. And because it is so crucial in digestion, in regulation of brain and mood, we know that the vagus nerve, if anybody wants to read the book, The Body Keeps the Score, I highly recommend it. It was written by a Harvard psychiatrist who was actually one of the primary researchers that discovered PTSD in Vietnam War veterans in Boston in the late 70s, and he's continued his research since then. But the vagus nerve controls so much of our internal body systems. Your vagus nerve helps your diaphragm relax. So like if you ever have hiccups, your vagus nerve is actually irritated. That's what causes hiccups. It's so important. All of these things that we've talked about, posture, breathing, sleep. We could give an entire course on the vagus nerve, but the vagus nerve is probably the most crucial nerve in your body in terms of controlling all of these systems, basically from here to, you can't see my other hand, but it's at the bottom of my belly. Your vagus nerve
all the way down your spine
pretty much controls all this. And everything that we've talked about so far can affect the vagus nerve.
Yes. And that mind-gut connection, there are books on it, but what goes on
There's
in the
also
stomach,
an awesome Amazon video.
Yeah.
The Gut, the Second Brain.
Mm.
Amazing. 45 minutes if you want to blow your mind. It's really great. Talks
Yes.
about so much of the international stuff that is being done for gut health.
Well, and I believe I read a headline in Japan, they're actually now starting to refer it as your first brain because they're realizing how many neurotransmitters it's,
yes.
serotonin is made in your stomach. 95% of it is stored in your GI lining. So it's not just your immune system that's disrupted when your GI is all messed up from lack of sleep and too much stress and crappy food, but it's your mood, your serotonin, and that is communicated in part with the help of the vagus nerve where these play a role.
And oh, it's so important. Vagus nerve is so important. Oh my God.
So keeping a healthy GI can help with those happy neurotransmitter hormones that help with mood. So it's not just the food you put in and just the nutrients, but it's also just the general GI health. And as we've talked and, all this gut health, Gutsy Gals, that all plays into stress and inflammation and mood and pain and aches and all of that. And I know when I do these 5 and 7 day challenges of clean eating and education, in addition to people going, oh, my digestion's better and bloating's better and I've lost some weight, so many people are like, I'm sleeping better.
Yeah.
And we all know when we sleep bad, we're cranky the next day. Like there's a very clear connection between sleep quality and mood, but it goes deeper than that too.
Yeah.
But that's just an easy to see example that most of us can relate to.
Yeah.
We don't think as well. We're not as clear-minded. We're usually
cranky. Yep. All of those. And the vagus nerve is important for digestion. It actually gives, so there's so much research looking at like IBS in the vagus nerve. It
affects part of motility too.
Exactly. It affects your motility, which here again is part of the reason why it's important to have like good posture, because having that good posture and being able to get good deep breaths and oxygen to your guts, which are absorbing the nutrients and doing the digesting and really fueling your whole body, and having the good posture that alleviates any pressure on the vagus nerve and I love the vagus nerve.
So I think one of the ways I would kind of sum it all up is for people who are like, I can't eat, I want to eat better, but I can't. There's so many factors at play. There's so many factors at play that have a little grace with yourself, have a little forgiveness. And if you can't
have a lot of forgiveness, have a lot of forgiveness, have a lot of grace.
Have some grace for yourself, have some forgiveness for yourself. Don't think it's all about brute strength, willpowering through, and focus on some of those other areas where you can break that cycle. Make sure you're trying to get sleep. Do 5 minutes of stress reducing activities before bed. When I have people do like deep yoga breathing, number one thing they'll tell me, they're either more relaxed or, oh my gosh, I think I could fall asleep.
Yep.
So do some deep breathing, make sure you get good sleep, breathe throughout the day, drink a lot of water, and start with that.
Superman. Yeah. I mean, and it's the small steps that count. And this kind of to taking it back to kind of where we started with, where do you find those little moments of gratitude and little moments of joy when you're like, but my life should be fine. I don't know why I'm depressed. Here again, what are those small what are the things that you can do to implement 5 minutes of deep breathing? Can you implement 5 minutes of getting up in between each one of your conference calls? Can you, I mean,
or even just in your chair,
or just in your chair stretching. Oh God, I have a whole chair stretching, like, actually I have a whole chair stretching routine that we could put up for people. But there's, I mean, there's lots of small things. Depression isn't a here's your answer.
Nothing is. Everything is personal. Everything is complex.
And I would say to you, it's the small, I mean, all of those small steps get you there eventually. You know, and as Kate said, it's, can you move from 22 of hate to 21 of anger to 20 of disappointment,
yeah.
What, like,
and then slowly get to like acceptance, and then hopeful, and then you don't have to be like joyous about some shitty situation right off the bat, but just,
I mean, like,
one little rung at a time. What's one little thing? Because I mean, we're a little over the place because it's such a big topic, but that reminded me of one of the things that did help me. Again, first of all, not saying something that was just arbitrary. Well, I'm grateful that, blah, but something that was genuine. So I used to, in again, part of my depression and self-loathing and all of that, you know, was disliking my body and my weight. And so I challenged myself to think of 3 things I was grateful for about my body each day. And I mean, it started, I was like, I'm glad I can see. Like, yeah, I am, truly, I am.
Yep.
But it started almost a little sarcastic like that, but it started to get, you know, I am grateful that I can go for a walk. Yeah. That is gratitude. I'm grateful I can feel the tactile feel of petting my cats. Yeah. And it had to start just so small, but but true. Things that were still true. You know, and so if that comes to thinking about relationships that are strained, you know, maybe you're like, oh my God, that person is such a brainwashed idiot. I can't believe, blah, blah, blah. I appreciate that they take care of their household. I appreciate that they tried to reach out to somebody. I appreciate that there is something good that you can genuinely, truly agree with, even if it's not up here yet.
Yeah, exactly. And I would agree. You know, for those who don't know the full Andee shit show, which that would take 6 years to fully describe. But, you know, at one point it was like, I am grateful that I did not die in surgery. Like, the medical system did not kill me. I am grateful that we have titanium that can be installed as replacement parts in my body. You know, like, it's, you know, at some point you're really, it might be starting super small, but being grateful for the things that you can be grateful for and truly feel it really makes it easier to find other things to be grateful for. And it, like you said, it just moves you up the rung a half at a time till you.
So when you find those couple little mantras or things about whatever it is you're trying to shift your perspective on, whether it's yourself, your health, your relationships, your job, your, you know, our current just world situation, just find that little thing that you can go, yes, I do truly mean that.
Yep.
You know,
the other thing that I'm going to throw out there is find a mirror. And I don't mean like a physical mirror. I mean, find someone who matters deeply to you, who can say, like, when you're like, I am in a shit spiral right now. Here's where, you know, like, whatever the situation is, where you're at, someone who can be like, I see Andee Peabody. And when I look at Andee Peabody, I see this person. because the other thing is when we're depressed, our mirror is broken and distorted. So the self-loathing and the messaging and all of the other stuff, our mirror is not necessarily accurately reflective of ourselves. So finding someone who can be like, nah, bitch, you ain't getting away with that. Like, you are not,
call you out on your moping.
Yeah, call you out on, but it's not even really calling you out on your moping. It's like being able to say, I see Andee Peabody as a person who is, I'm not going to recite what my friend said to me the other day, but it basically like someone who is capable, someone who is powerful, someone who can, you know, inspire other people, someone who can get together and have a video podcast with their dietitian who's also like putting herself out there and doing this. Like sometimes finding someone else to be that mirror can help change your perspective as well, to help you find some of those glimmers if you can't find them yourself.
Yeah. And on kind of the flip side of that, the other thing I'd say is when you get trapped in your own head, extend blessings and gratitude and words to other people. Because I think a lot of people are struggling. We don't compliment a whole lot as a society often. And I will say that, again, this is in general just kind of been a week for me, which could just be time of the month, you know, whatever. And I know I'll get through it. But it just happened that on a bad day, I had the one client message me like, your program changed my life. And I had my friend message me that she's like, you know, we're sticking to it. You've been inspiring us, and I'm feeling better. And you've made that difference. And you know, my sisters just kind of happened to reach out and just, you know, love you and thinking of you. And it's just like, that helped. So whether it was like reminding myself like why my job is important and fulfilling and what I do matters and I love it, or it's a friend kind of saying I matter to them, or same thing, like reach out to people.
Extending gratitude. Oh my, here's a story for you. I had Tuesday I had a day in caps, and I went to check in for my exam. I had an MRI, and I'm like, I am here. I'm tapped, right? It's like this exam at 7:30 at night. I'm going in for an MRI, and I'm like, I had PT that morning at like 7:15. My kid had been up since 4:30. I'm like, I'm done. I've had a day and a half, right? Girl that's checking me in, she's like, Peabody, oh my God, I love that last name, like Mr. Peabody, da 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 da. And we sit down, and she's like, so how's your day been? And I'm like, it was horrible, but I was just gonna say it was great, because I'm so like, she was so perky and like, oh my God, I love that last name, and Mr. and like just in the flip of a switch, like I was so bubbly, and I was about to be like, oh my God, actually my day has been horrible, but you just changed it. But you had that moment, and it
lifted you,
and it completely turned my day around. So reaching out can, you know, really turn somebody else's day around, and and that becomes reciprocal, you know. Energy is contagious.
It is. Yeah. So I think that kind of, in a super brief crash course, it kind of hits on some things. So taking that mindset little by little, looking for the twinkle lights of gratitude, making sure that as you're mindful about your eating, to try to get nutrient dense foods, get a good multivitamin, make sure you get vitamin D if you can't get out in the sunlight, move. Even if it's not an intense activity, just move, stretch, work on your posture, do some Superman posing. Find 5 minutes a day minimum to work on your own breathing and stress reduction, and then focus on that quality sleep as well. It is important. And in all of this, stay accountable to yourself, extend grace to yourself, extend gratitude to yourself, and to anybody around you. Reach out and find, you know, write a letter to somebody, write a letter to yourself, whatever it is, but find a little support group, and reach out and ask for one.
Yeah. Finding your support. And I'm going to hit on that. Finding your support. Like that's key too. And finding out not only your support, but also who is it that's sapping your energy? Because that's another thing, toxic relationships.
We get into that in a whole topic too.
Yeah, that's a whole other topic. But with depression, that's another thing that you kind of need to look at is like, where's my energy going that it doesn't have to go?
Yeah. What are the triggers? Whether that's people, even chores,
events.
Maybe you can shift events, too much news, too much Facebook.
Yeah.
Whatever
Not enough Facebook.
Yeah.
I mean,
if that's where your people are, connect.
Yeah. Like just, it's very personal. But there's lots and lots and lots of small steps that you can take, and you're not alone. I mean, that's the other thing I think to remember is that there's not enough discussion. We're all going through it. There's not enough talk about depression and mental health in general. So, know that it's not irreversible. It's not the end of the world. And you can come back from it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even no matter how deep the hole is, you can come
living
out of
proof.
it. Living proof.
Yes. So to those, fine. If you, my well wishes and my idealism is that everybody's got people around them that they can repair relationships with and find at least some sort of common ground, reach out to family, reach out to friends, even if you can't see them, call them, write a hand letter. It's kind of meaningful, Skype, Zoom, whatever, FaceTime. If you don't have that, hop on Facebook or other things. There are groups out there. Some of them are pretty inert, but some are very loving and supportive and compassionate. We've got the Thrive group on Facebook.
Yeah.
So Andee and I are there. We're happy to talk. And I'm sure there are other people there who can relate, even if they haven't spoken up about it.
And groups. There's a whole history that's beyond even just what Kate and I have talked about here. Meds, genetic testing for meds, all sorts of other stuff that's like beyond lifestyle. But there's so much from a wellness perspective that is within our control. But please reach out. You're not alone.
And if you want to go beyond lifestyle, reach out to us. We can talk to you about supplements and nutrition and helping you stay accountable. And I've got mindset practices with people, and there are books labs
that we can recommend.
Yeah. So
labs and books, and there's resources. So much. So you're not alone.
Easy. It's not easy. It's hard to figure out which of all those different webs and puzzle pieces is affecting what and how it's all together, but
it's a spider web, right? You pull on this piece and this piece go, so it's kind of one of those things that like growth isn't linear, and you gotta, sometimes it's more sleep focused, sometimes it's more movement focused. It's what's going to work for you. So there's no one size fits all solution, but know that there are solutions and there's things that can help. So
with that, we hope everybody had a wonderful, wonderful Thanksgiving, even if you were just home and chilling or breaking rules and hanging out in big parties.
I was gonna say, if you're breaking rules, I don't want to know.
But may everybody stay happy, healthy, safe, and warm. And let us know what else you'd like to talk about.
Please give us topic ideas. Let us know what you want to hear us blabber about.
Yes. With that,
all right,
peace out.
Bye, tribe.